Seems like everybody is looking for satisfaction. Everybody wants to be satisfied. And, we're being sold on this all the time, looking for satisfaction, can't get no satisfaction. This is how you can get it. Everybody's looking for that feeling of completeness, complete comfort, complete fullness, just the feeling that everything is all right. But it seems like this is a little bit missing the point, because it seems like the only way to be fully satisfied is to be dead. As long as there's life, as long as we are still living, we could never be fully satisfied. There's always some kind of a hunger. It seems like it's just part of life itself, that as a result of being alive, we are going to be hungry. We're constantly changing, becoming, growing, evolving into new forms. And being satisfied is like being fixed in a final point, fixed in a final form, where we just, it's like, okay, I've arrived, I'm complete, this is it. And that seems like it can only come at the end of life. So it's not really something that is nice to hear. I like the idea of having that sense of satisfaction, and that maybe at some point, after developing my mindset, developing my life system, my way of life, that there will eventually be a point where, okay, this is it, this is great, I'm satisfied. But it seems like no matter what position we can get ourselves in, no matter how much we can improve things, change things, make things better, there's always going to be a new frontier of change. There's never going to be a point of completeness. So it seems like we simply have to accept this as part of being alive, that there's a certain kind of element of dissatisfaction and incompleteness that will never be filled. And that's okay. It's like the hunger, the longing, that drive to seek, that impels us to reach out, impels us to do things. That drive is part of the drive of life itself. And feeling that hunger is almost like it's part of feeling alive. And so it's something that we can really embrace as being almost like a sign that we're alive. It's like, okay, I'm hungry. I feel there's some completeness that I'm reaching out for. And that just reminds me that I'm alive, because that's what it's like to be alive. Those moments of being full, complete, satiated, those are only temporary rests. And the hunger always comes back. So it seems like if we can just accept this, it can almost be like part of the joy of being alive, that we can embrace this hunger as some kind of, as a good thing, as a blessing for us. It makes me think of the saying, a hungry dog is a healthy dog. It makes me think of that like, there's something about the dog that just like, they're okay with always being hungry, because that's their energy, and their life energy is like constantly seeking. And it's just, with the dog, you can kind of see in raw form a lot of the animal nature that's part of all life. You just kind of see it in raw form with the dogs, that they just have that seeking energy, that hunger, that they are driving towards new things at all times. So this whole idea of embracing dissatisfaction Now, it doesn't mean that all forms of dissatisfaction are equal and are okay, because it seems like we can remove a lot of the elements of our dissatisfaction. We can be dissatisfied because we don't have something that somebody else has, and that makes us dissatisfied. Well, we don't need to have that. We don't need to feel that way, because that's not a hunger that we actually need. We can be hungry for all sorts of illusions and things that are completely unnecessary. And those, I believe, they can be eliminated, and we can achieve satisfaction that, oh, I don't have what that person has, doesn't matter. I don't need that. So there's so many areas, I believe, where we can achieve satisfaction. Just that there's no complete satisfaction. There's always that hunger that's part of being a real living being, I believe. And so with that perspective, with that idea, I can just kind of rest into the idea that it's okay. It's okay to be unsatisfied, to be hungry, and as long as I'm alive, I'm glad to have that drive within me to keep living.